Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joshua Canales. I live in Alameda, California, and today we're going to talk about the homelessness in the area and the proposed strategy Connect, Create, Correct. Our agenda is going to be as follows. We're going to review information about Alameda. We're going to talk about the two dominant strategic plans that I discovered through the city. We're going to view their strengths and weaknesses. We're going to state our goals and strategies, such as connect, create, and correct. Yes. We're also going to discuss details of the proposal, where it'll be, what we're going to do, and then mention follow-up and how we're going to do that. In the picture here, you can see Alameda County. This is all of Alameda County. It extends past the little island here and to all the way over here. Here's a brief snippet of the actual city. Very small. There's only two ways, three ways, four ways in and out right here on the bridges. And this is Coast Guard Island right here. So, Alameda County. The point in time survey was a survey that happened in Alameda in 2019, where a bunch of volunteers in one night counted as many homeless persons, meaning unsheltered, that were in Alameda County. And among those, 692 veterans were experiencing homelessness. That's 9% of the county's population. 690 of those veterans were single individuals, with 79% of veterans being unsheltered. Unsheltered veterans attributed their homelessness to job loss at nearly twice the rate as sheltered veterans. That's 15% to the 18%, signifying that shelter is a huge part of what contributes to homelessness and continued homelessness. Per the city of Alameda, the small island that we showed you previously, the city of Alameda accounts for 5% of Alameda's county's residents. And for the city of Alameda, the survey, the PIT survey of 2019, that's point in time, revealed 231 homeless individuals were unhoused or in shelters. 184, that's 80%, without either shelter or housing. 48% were communicating with outreach programs. That's only half of the population of homelessness that is connected to some sort of outreach program. 14% were over the age of 60, 13% between the ages of 50 and 64, and 3% over the age of 65. That's 30% over the age of 50. Which is a trend that they're tracking, is that the homelessness population is becoming much older as time goes. These are the two dominant strategic plans in the area, with Home Together specifically targeting Alameda County, and the Road Home plan for the city of Alameda, both 5-year plans to prevent and respond to homelessness in Alameda. The interviews conducted earlier this month reviewed two agencies, Salvation Army and another called Alameda Healthcare, or Alameda County Healthcare for the Homeless. And after talking with both of those agencies, as well as a third called E5 Therapy, they focus on veterans and training emotional care animals, service dogs, things like that. Some of the biggest things that I saw that was a focus was age. So we have youth, and trying to protect the youth from becoming part of that population, veterans, and older populations that were involved in homelessness and that lifestyle. Intimate partner violence was an identified target of the Home Together plan, domestic violence and things like that, leading to homelessness. Behavioral health and criminal justice impacted individuals was another component of the Home Together plan. And another identified need was funding. Some programs rely on funding, such as the E5 Therapy, their nonprofit, ACHCH's nonprofit, and so they require funding from sources. The good news, though, is relevant legislation found on Congress.gov, Ending Homelessness Act of 2021. This was a bill introduced that specifically called for expanding funding for housing choices vouchers for certain low-income families. It provided protection for discrimination of income sources for renters and permanently reauthorized certain homelessness age assistance grants and makes permanent the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness. The USICH is the only federal agency that the sole mission is focused on homelessness and is made up of 19 different agencies that implement the federal strategic plans to end homelessness. This is a brief summary of the proposed federal budget for the homelessness. It aims to provide an overall increase in funding of 10%, with 84% increase for VA supportive services of veterans and families, which is something personally I'm connected to as a military person. Some of the goals and strategies identified in those two strategic plans, Home Together and the Road Home, are some of the things that I gathered and saw in multiple areas of the city. One, we want to prevent homelessness for residents. That's pretty straightforward. The biggest thing that I think was connecting people to shelters and needed resources, alongside housing and housing availability and housing affordability. A lot of families are being forced out of their homes because of the just high price of renting in California. The Road Home talked about securing a housing future for Alamedans. They're working on creating little subsidiaries, little local communities that would offer small home for low-income families. Alameda County healthcare for the homeless was one of the more interesting conversations I had over the past several weeks. They were very team-oriented. They talked about how they operate as a team. The support was great between everybody. If you needed a sick day, they have those. Specifically when it comes to burnout, these type of things are the best things to have. What they also had was high quality data backed by their practice. Everything that they do is based on data, based on research, and some of their research and their trainings can actually be found online for free. I found one of theirs about talking with patients with schizophrenia, and it was very interesting. And one of the weaknesses they talked about was, again, limited funding to grants and donations. And this is, what we also discussed was that there was a lack of diversity among the staff, right? So majority of ACHC social workers were white women, and this potentially creates a barrier for them with some of the population here. So overall, the things that I thought definitely were a need were affordable housing or temporary shelters, connecting people to resources, and providing training for medical and healthcare related facilities. That one is something that I thought was very critical. Talking with ACHC, they mentioned that a huge problem with homelessness and seeking available resources is they felt discriminated against. They felt unliked. They felt disregarded, completely just, pushed to the side. And that's totally, just realistic. I think that's what happens, and I think that prevents people from seeking resources, because if you were to show up at a shelter and you felt like no one wanted you there, well, why would you go? And not triple, I was thinking of triple HC, ACHC, they're working on creating a training to provide for medical and healthcare related facilities and educate them, enable them to communicate with homelessness and to be aware of their biases and to effectively help these populations as well as treat them fairly. My goals are the 3 points that I want to push as the proposal is to bring awareness to the need to correct, create, and connect. I mentioned that at the beginning of the PowerPoint. Correct, we want to develop and deliver training for treatment facilities that are unfamiliar with homeless populations. If you can imagine the stereotype or stigma that one might have for a homeless person coming to the hospital, repeatedly and pursuing, benzodiazepines, opioids. There's definitely a mindset within the clinical setting that, these people are just there for drugs. And while, sometimes that is the case, there are people that definitely come to the hospital and need care, and we don't want to miss them. We don't want to treat everybody wrong when there are people that need help. And the biggest thing is to deliver some training on how to identify that, how to prevent unfair, treatment and discrimination against these populations, because they are people and they do have needs, especially when you're able to have a conversation with one of these members of society. The second thing we want to do is create dedicated, affordable housing. One of the biggest things in California is just the high cost of living. I mean, my 3-bedroom is $3,000 just for a 3-bedroom, $3,000 a month. And that can be very different from where you are. Compare it, on the other side of the screen here. It is a lot of money to live here. Fortunately for myself, things are, I have a contract and things are, stable. But, a lot of people can't afford $3,000 a month. Especially when they have big families. Even single adults, to live in a studio is over $2,000, and that's a huge issue. People having to choose, to sacrifice a lot of things just to maintain, housing. And whenever they encounter, some sort of event, something that, cripples them financially, a death in the family, those are things that some people just can't recover from. And 40%, I believe it's 30 to 40%, is a good percentage of paycheck that Californians, Alamedians spend on their rent. I believe it's at least 30%. It goes straight to just housing. The third thing we want to do is we want to connect. We want to expand access in neighborhoods to resources such as behavioral health, medical care, and other related services. There was a video I saw once of it was a documentary about the homelessness population here in our city, in Alameda, and the basic desire to take a shower, the basic need to have a shower, because it prevents them from being able to have job interviews. It prevents them from, seeking out, those job opportunities, because they they do get, rejected for those reasons. And medical care as well, behavioral health, those are all things that we really want to connect people to, because only 48% are aware of these resources, and some of them are free. Some of them are funded by the state, the government, nonprofits, and they're all there. It's just connecting with the population, letting them know that they're there, these resources, that there are passionate people who want to help and passionate people who are not going to judge them. The event that I want to describe and present is, again, correct, create, connect. We want to collaborate with what issues are caused by racial disparity and discrimination that are leading to the unfair treatment of homelessness populations in medical and treatment settings. We want to find out what's creating these issues. One, for example, is the source of opioids and benzodiazepines. That is something that we can look at, we can describe, we can elaborate, and we can try to find a way to respond to these situations. We also want to organize a training team to develop this curriculum. We want to work with ACHC and talk to them and their professionals and their experts, and see if we can come up with something that we can distribute across the city, potentially across the city, but it just depends on how well formed we can get together. This event will bring everybody together into one place and hopefully have a conversation about this specific need. We want to increase conversations with the media as well to advocate for the prevention of homelessness. We want to bring people aware, make people aware, whether it's flyers, whether it's social media, whether it's the news. One, about the event, and two, about the topic. The event, they're all going to be focused and bring awareness to these things. We also want to work with the government strategic plan, the city, to create shelter and housing for homeless, including showers. Figure out a way to enable homelessness populations to, have a shower, to clean themselves up. And we want to create a workforce to collaborate with the city, delivering volunteers and funding to the city projects. Something like a temp agency where they hire people who are ready to work, and they send out whatever they need to complete a task or a job. We want to create a workforce of volunteers who are ready to build, who are ready to clean up land, lot, whatever it may be. We want to design a team who are passionate and ready to go and help aid in building these homes, these shelters, and water sources. We also want to bring awareness to and execute community outreach to provide mobile services such as haircuts, clothing, and opportunities for clean showers, again, and available free or low-cost programs. So one of the big things that I would like to do is to reach out to the local businesses, local thrift shops, and find donations, find people who are willing to come out on given days and administer haircuts, give haircuts to the populations, give someone a clean shave, shampoo, condition, things that are going to make homelessness populations feel like they're a part of society again, feel able to go out with confidence and find something that they can build and be proud of. Self-image is definitely something that we all consider. It is something that affects how we feel and motivation, and it is just one way we can reach out to the population, give them something to feel good about, to move forward with. Again, we're going to solicit local businesses, donations, and services, and we're also going to connect homeless populations back to society, just like I said, overall, by giving them, a sense of, humanity, having a shower, something that they've all experienced in the past. It's going to bring a little bit of light to their situation. The details: we have Crown Beach. It is a local dog-friendly park with a beach as well. It's a centralized location to Alameda. It's open air, to mitigate COVID concerns. It's high visibility, one of the busiest areas in the city. Streets are packed, parks are packed. There's a park nearby, and we want to keep the area nice and open so that people don't feel scarce or weary of coming. We're going to work with local businesses for sponsors, people who are going to provide donations. City programs and local police departments are going to be present to, one, for safety, and two, for just the presence and the support. We're going to work with Alameda County Healthcare for the homeless. They're going to be our direct connection to services. Salvation Army is going to provide meals and service connection. They're going to be like a middleman. E5 Therapy, we're going to invite them because they have a huge focus on veterans, and that is a big part of the homelessness population here. We're going to also go through social media networks and online communities looking for donations, things such as Nextdoor, which is a neighborhood app where we can, advertise the event, bring people together, invite people. Facebook, Instagram, we're all going to hit the social media and just get people aware that this event is coming, that there's going to be food. No one can say no to food. And we're going to just talk about this huge need and try to advocate for homelessness, and that they're people that they need a clean shower. They need, something soft to lay their head on, for sure. Here are a list of services that we have discovered in the area that are going to be a part of the event. We have Al's Barbershop, Webster Barbershop, Juan's, Anna Salon, BIBO. We have also a mobile dental hygiene group of Donna. They're going to be a source of hygiene. We're going to set up a little station, and we're going to deliver some hygiene products. We're going to do, on the spot treatment, shampoos. We're going to have Alameda Healthcare, Alameda County Environmental Health, as well as the Alameda Landing Dentistry as well participating. Clothing, we're going to have donations from Salvation Army. We're going to go with Goodwill as well, Lauren's Closet, and Ross's Dress for Less, as well as the citizens of the Alameda, whatever else they want to provide, they're going to bring to this event. Now, the important thing is to follow up after everything, goes down. What we want to do is we want to capture data about where things are prior to the event. We want to also capture data on who's attending these events. Are we having homelessness, at these events, to hear the services available, to meet the people there, and to understand that there is less of a stigma. There's more focus and more compassion for them. We want to also take feedback from participants in the event, those who attended, surveys, find out if what they saw moved them, if they felt ready to volunteer. We'll take up a volunteer list and an email bang list, and we'll find out who wants to be a part of that workforce of volunteers. We're going to conduct a post-assessment of the homeless population as well, similar to the survey, but we're also going to focus on, how they feel. Do they feel accepted? Do they feel better about seeking services? And were the proposed goals, create, correct, connect, if those were received, and if we can see evidence of that in the community. We're going to connect with the population. We're going to ask homeless persons how they feel. Do they feel treated fairly? We're also going to talk to the medical and mental health care facilities and see, if the training was, spread, if people are talking about this need, and see if there's any kind of changes going on in their policy, in their standard protocol. We're going to reach out to the city strategic personnel and ask if more shelters are being built, what kind of demographic are filling these homes, is the number of sheltered homeless populations affecting job opportunities, and creating stability from preventing people from going homelessness. The city is a huge part of, land and development, city development, and they're going to be a huge asset and partner in creating these shelters and more affordable housing. We're also going to reach out to agencies. We're going to review if homeless populations know about the available services, if are they using them, what is preventing them from receiving care or assistance, and analyze the information and reevaluate for effectiveness. Overall, the city of Alameda does have homeless population and a stigma of discrimination towards them, just that they're, unwanted, undesirable, and we want to correct that. We want to help them seek services because it's these services that are going to help them to kind of maintain a sanity level that will get them through until we're able to support them financially with housing, with grants, with assistance, with meals. We want to keep these people going. So I appreciate everyone's time, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. City of Alameda, it is about 80 degrees. I know a lot of other people, some in Texas, who are at 100 degrees. It's quite a nice little place to visit, and I hope you all get to visit it one day. Thank you very much again. Have a great rest of your week, and looking forward to more of Social Work 510.